Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston, and today's the first month, the 31st day in the year 2026. So it's the last day of the first month of the fake year because the real year starts April 1st, as God decided it. And if you didn't understand that, I'll explain it to you. The Vatican decided to change the new year from April 1st, which it always was, spring, the start of the new year, to January 1st because it was more mind control. Put everybody in the worst part of the year. It's freezing, it's cold, nothing's growing, and call it the new year. And anybody that had the nerve to still celebrate the actual real new year were called April Fools. You see that? At any rate, here we go. So you may be asking yourself, why is Richie making a video outside in the cold, in the dark? Because I've just met with a couple of federal workers, we'll call them, again. And apparently, with the advent of the new Epstein files being dropped, everyone's attention is looking that way. As they should be, but you'll never get satisfaction. It'll never come to pass. These guys all do this. It's what they do. They're never going to put themselves in jail. But what they're distracting everybody from is this. This is a problem. And I've got verification that ICE's workforce is going to double over the next several months. They're giving out they've got a massive military, they've got a massive budget. It's insane.
Family has received documents showing that ICE has purchased a massive warehouse in the West Valley. The filings say the 400,000 square foot facility near Sweetwater Avenue and Dysart Road in Surprise was bought for $70 million last Friday. There haven't been any plans announced for this facility, but there have been reports that ICE has been buying similar facilities for detention centers. We have reached out to the city of Surprise as well as DHS for a comment. Once we learn more, we'll share that with you.
So yeah, their budget is now $27.7 billion. It's bigger than most countries' Defense Department budgets. And all of a sudden, I told you about this a while ago when they first started doing this, but ICE is buying up mega warehouses all over the United States, every place. And you don't have to do that because we have an immigration system that, Barack Obama used perfectly, no problem, just the way it was. No reason for detention centers, but the detention centers, well, they're for me and you. That's all. They're for people that do not go along with the program, people that have been making videos like I've been making the last several years, and people that have been commenting. So understand that and be aware. That's what is happening, period. There is no reason in the world to do anything to the immigration system. A $30 billion budget, massive warehouses everywhere to warehouse people. We don't need to warehouse illegals. You capture them, you send them back. No big deal. But it seems like regular channels are starting to catch on to this now, and it's a little too late. But I got to tell you, because I got to tell you, and I met these boys in person, and this is absolutely happening. They've been given the green light. They're going to shoot as many Americans as they have to. The White House will 100% back them up, even if it's a straight lie. Because like I said last night, and I'll say it till the day they put a bullet through my head, they want you and I to kill each other. That's the ultimate esoteric satanic plan. Laugh, scoff, think what you want, but that's what it is. But like I said, others are starting to catch on.
What if the ICE crackdown isn't about immigration at all, but about constructing and normalizing an internal security force? A secret police designed to suppress dissent as social trust collapses and the American system begins to fracture. The killings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy have pushed ICE back into the national spotlight, reigniting public outrage and dominating headlines in an already volatile Trump-era news cycle. But for anyone paying attention, these deaths weren't shocking. They were predictable. The logical outcome of a year spent transforming ICE from an immigration agency into something closer to a domestic military force. What the public is reacting to now is only the visible surface of a much deeper buildup that has been unfolding quietly, systematically, and largely unnoticed. There's a reason secret police forces across history tend to look the same. They follow recognizable patterns, and once you know them, it becomes difficult to ignore how closely ICE is beginning to align. So what happened to Good and Freddie isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning, and it's going to get a lot worse. Despite the rhetoric and the sense that immigration is out of control, the data tells a different story. In 2025, Trump deported roughly 300,000 non-citizens. That number sounds enormous until you put it into context. In 2012 alone, during the Obama administration, nearly 500,000 people were deported in a single year. Over 8 years, Obama deported more than 5 million people, double the amount Trump did in his first term. Today, deportation numbers are lower, yet the crackdown is far more extreme, which raises an obvious question. If immigration isn't objectively worse, if deportations aren't historically unprecedented, then why has ICE been transformed into one of the most aggressive, heavily armed federal agencies in the country? ICE now operates with an annual budget of $11.3 billion, larger than Iran's entire military budget. It fields tactical units, deploys military-grade weapons, and uses AI-powered surveillance, data fusion, and predictive targeting tools to identify, track, and hunt down people inside the United States. It's presented to the public as an immigration force, but it's actually the test launch of an internal security force. Today, that force supposedly targets non-citizens, but the boundaries are quickly shifting. Trump has openly floated the idea of denaturalizing American citizens, turning citizens into non-citizens, and therefore into lawful ICE targets. And when Renee Good and Alex Preddy were killed, the justification wasn't restraint or accountability. They were very quickly labeled domestic terrorists.
So I'll leave links to his video down below so you can watch the entire thing, but he's basically going to tell you what I'm telling you right now, except I don't use as many words to say it. But here's a fun thing. Trump has had this plan for a long time. Let's go back to 2018, shall we? Because this has been sitting on the shelf for a long time. Domestic terrorism and places to put these people. And which people would these be?
Donald Trump is now a conspiracy theorist. There it is in writing, even though this is the last thing we heard about conspiracy theorists. So according to this, Trump is now a domestic terrorist. Epstein is probably on another island someplace right now, or Mossad extracted him and took care of him because his job was simply to compile dirt on everybody of importance to make everybody bend to their will. And that's what he did. And that's what they did.
Isn't it incredibly crazy that I pull up a random clip that I did back in 2018 where I wanted to show where Donald Trump was labeling conspiracy theorists as domestic terrorists, and then we never heard anything about it. And in that video, I'm still talking about Epstein being killed. And then as of today, the Epstein files, some of them at least, were released and everybody's a Twitter about it. Well, the end of this video or this clip from 2018 will show you exactly what they're going to do. Trump will simply start a war because that's the plan. We're living the plan right now. The end of the United States, the end of the world. People will still live here, but many, many, many people will have to die. And I'm talking 9 out of 10 people, and they want it to happen by our own hands. They want us to kill each other. And based on history, the last 58 years of my life, we will.
Trump even mentioning Epstein or anything absolutely ridiculous like this would just shine the spotlight right back on him because he was friends with Epstein for the longest time. Do you see what I mean? It's amazing to me that people even, it's just amazing that people even take this stuff seriously when this is the last thing I saw from him. Social media to detect mass shooters. Well, if the social media did its job, it would probably detect the people that are standing behind these guys right now, because this is what it all is. You know what I mean? Everything bad that happens is directly is caused by the people that are supposed to be in charge. That's all there is to it. Mind control is government. You don't understand what I'm saying? Check this out. Do you see this? The etymology of the word government means to control the mind. Well, that's exactly what it means. But now in our new day and age where this is happening, when you look it up, you'll see 35 things that say, no, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that whatsoever at all. So when you see stories like this, and this, and this, and then you hear about Epstein hanging himself in a holding cell, it's ridiculous. But don't forget, this is them through Hollywood talking directly to you.
That's right. We don't submit to terror. We make the terror.
Oh, Richie, that's just a Hollywood television program. Well, let me tell you something. This entire thing is based on the White House and the president. So none of this was allowed to run until it was ran by everybody at the upper levels. They put this in there because it's the absolute truth. This is the terror. If people were smart enough to get rid of all of these people and stand on their own 2 feet again, this would be a great world. These are ugly people that did whatever it took to get to be where they're at. Power and money. Nothing new under the sun. If you see it on the mainstream, there's a great chance it's complete and total bullshit. At any rate, Richiefromboston, and I'm out.
So there you go. ICE is out of control. They're getting bigger every day. Their budget is unlimited. They don't swear an oath to the Constitution, which means shooting American citizens isn't even a thing. They don't even care about that whatsoever at all. And now they're buying massive warehouses all over the United States, much more than before. We don't need warehouses to warehouse people that are being deported. We have a system that's already in place that works perfectly well. Obama used it, no problem. It's getting crazy out here. But yeah, we're the domestic terrorists. We've been on the list for a long time. They gave me my channels back simply so they could data farm, see what I'm saying, see what you're saying, and put you on the list. And add Palantir to the mix. Now they've got all the information they've been gathering and a way to disseminate it. And using data centers, that's what they're for. That's what they're for. This is absolutely crazy. But let's see what the Epstein files showed us as of today, shall we? Because I find it ironic. Anytime you talk about Trump from last term, Epstein was still in the mix. It just doesn't go away, but it never gets uncovered.
The FBI just dropped 3.5 million files, and it is incredible. Huge bombshells about some of the most powerful people on the planet. I can't believe they let some of this stuff out. I mean, it is stunning. Honestly, one of the biggest lies we've seen is the idea that the FBI could possibly come to us and say, not only is there not a client list, there was no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. Guys, we're about to see planned blackmail to one of the most powerful people on the planet, and that is Bill Gates. Listen, there's a lot we're going to get to, but we have to start with probably the craziest revelation here, which is Jeffrey Epstein emailing himself about Bill Gates. Now, if you don't know, Bill Gates and Epstein had a relationship post 2008. That's a big year. You're going to hear a lot today because 2008 was the time that Epstein pled guilty for soliciting of somebody under the age of 18. He was a predator at this point. Everybody knew it. Now, eventually, Bill Gates would get divorced when all of this came out. Melinda Gates said it was part of the direct cause for the divorce. She said she met Epstein and said he was evil.
He was evil personified.
So you have to understand, this is like Bill Gates' kryptonite. He's one of the richest men on the planet. He's got this huge philanthropy arm. But this relationship with Epstein has been a huge problem for him. And Epstein appears to have known that because in 2013, Bill Gates appears to be distancing himself from Jeffrey Epstein. And Epstein seems to have a problem with that. He says, I assume the dedication to our relation went both ways. Larry has now asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement. Basically, he's got to shut up about his relationship with Bill Gates. And this is where the blackmail starts. And it comes in the form of like, if I were you, I would do X if I were the type of guy that you should be. He says, in that regard, I suggest I buy you the house that you had your heart set on. In addition to 5 years of severance, we'll buy you out of the investment contract we agreed upon, 30 to 40% of an $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's terms. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. Then he lays out what he has on Bill Gates, or what he says he has. Quote, to add insult to injury, you subsequently, with tears in your eyes, implore me to delete the emails I had regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you could surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your I mean, This is insane. It's completely insane. It's like basically laying out in text form, I would give me millions of dollars, and I can't believe you're asking me to delete the message where you were going to give STD medication to your wife without her knowledge. I mean, it's complete. It's crazy. It's just completely obvious what he's doing here. It's just a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Here's what you should do. But now that coming out after Epstein's death, this looks really bad for Gates, obviously, because you usually wouldn't blackmail somebody for something that's completely false or fake. I mean, maybe he did that. But we also know Bill Gates had affairs. Obviously, Melinda credits it for their divorce. So it's hard to believe there was nothing sketchy going on. Bill Gates, of course, maintains that it was completely above board. He says the fact this allegation was in here just shows how much Epstein was willing to defame people. But Epstein lays it out. He says he helped Bill get drugs in order to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls, facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, and to being asked to provide Adderall for bridge tournaments. Look, guys, this is exactly what we suspected the whole time. Epstein was providing services to rich people and expecting payment via blackmail. Now you might say, and it's true, that we don't know that Epstein ultimately sent that version of an email to Gates. All we know is he sent that to himself. He may have planned the blackmail and just been drafting something. But what we do know are two things. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Gates was threatened by Epstein over an affair. We also know that after this blackmail email Jeffrey sent to himself was written, eventually Gates sent a $2 million donation to MIT directed by Jeffrey Epstein, which is a bit weird if you had distanced yourself from the guy and y'all had this big falling out. Now again, do we know for sure that Bill Gates did all of that? No, of course we don't. But do I think Bill Gates was innocently looking for charity advice from a after he already pled guilty? No, I don't. I'm sorry, I'm not that gullible.
The reason I show CoffeeZilla is because he's well respected. He's well respected, and he seems to be a very smart dude, except he still doesn't see the forest for the trees. Bill Gates is being given up right now, as is Elon Musk being given up right now, just to muddy the water all the more right now. You know what I'm saying? All of these people are on the list because they're all pedophiles. It's a part of Aleister Crowley's sex magic. If you want to be powerful, if you want to be transhuman, if you want to do all these things, you've got to do disgraceful, despicable sexual acts. The worse, the better. What's his name? McCaffrey, the guy that invented Norton antivirus. What was one of the things that they did? He used to have girls poop on his face. That's sex magic. It's disgusting, but it's what they do. Having sex with a child 5 years old and younger is perfect. That's why it's in the Talmud. You're not raping them. It's just like poking them in the eye. It's all good. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing's going on. But somehow CoffeeZilla doesn't see the larger picture here. You know, he keeps talking about the United States being completely lawless, but doesn't seem to get what's going on. They've said, New World Order. That's what they're doing. Nothing makes sense anymore. Israel has been exterminating an entire race of people for years now, and nobody's paying attention to that all over again. Isn't that helpful? And when all of this reaches its desired boiling point, Israel and America will attack Iran, because that's what they do every time. They don't fear the terror. They create the terror. They've told you.
Are we the science people or are we the idiots? Which one do we want to be?
Out. Elon Musk, who has been saying for years that it is a lie that he went to Epstein's island. In fact, he says he refused to go. From Elon, he says, Epstein tried to get me to go to his island. I refused. He says, anyone pushing this false narrative deserves complete contempt. Later responding to another headline, which said Elon Musk planned trip to Epstein's private island. And he says, this is false. But of course, we start to dig through the files and we can see on Epstein's calendar that Elon Musk is booked in December 6th of 2014. But maybe you don't believe that. That's just the word of Jeffrey Epstein. But maybe you'll believe the word of Elon Musk, who was caught emailing Jeffrey Epstein to go to his island post the guilty plea. Elon Musk writes, we'll be in BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays. Good time to visit. Jeffrey Epstein says, I will send a heli for you. Later, Elon Musk writes to Epstein, probably just to Lula and me, his ex-wife, what day and night would be the wildest party on your island? The world's richest man is asking the most pedophile man for the wildest party on his island. And then it gets more explicit. In 2012, remember, this is the guy who said, I refused it. I could never do that, right? It's false. But here in 2012, he says, do you have any parties planned? I've been working to the edge of my sanity this year. I really want to hit the party scene in St. Bart's or elsewhere and let loose. The invitation is much appreciated, but a peaceful island experience is the opposite of what I'm looking for. Guys, he can't even play the I went to go study math excuse, which is what all these guys do. They say, hey, I just went to go talk to scientists. Elon's like, hey, I don't want to do that. I'm looking for a party. That's what I'm here to do. And then Jeffrey...
So for as smart as CoffeeZilla is, he still doesn't catch on. No one's ever going to see charges. This is all just like three-card Monty. They're just going to keep moving the chips around, and they're setting up the New World Order. So, of course, they're going to try to topple the two richest men on Earth, right? Right? Seize all their money, this, that, and the other thing. But it doesn't matter, because if it gets too close to Trump, he'll just hit the button and they'll start sending missiles all over the poor people of Iran that didn't do anything to anybody. If you believe the narrative, you're not awake and you don't need to be here. At any rate, it's getting cold, and I got to upload this and see how that works out. So, Richie from Boston. For now, I'm out. Links to CoffeeZilla and the other fella will be below. Have a good night. Live your day. Live every day like it's your last. One of these days, you'll be right. Everything we've been talking about for the last 20 years is now here. It's not coming. It's here. It's setting up all around us, and it's going to get messy. And ICE is expanding. ICE is clearly not here for immigration because they're shooting or pretending to shoot Americans. We don't know, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We've already seen 2 white people get put down by ICE, and the government, the Trump administration, completely covered them. And that's all there is to it. Trump's not going anywhere. He is the last president if he has to kill us all to do it. Richie from Boston. I'm out.